Where did they go? Where did all the people go that used to occupy Britain's town centres? I walked down my local high street literally this morning to buy some pet food, and it was almost like the rapture. Literally like the rapture. Apart from anything else, there were literally zero people. This is like sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Zero people walking down the high street, and this is a Saturday morning, like a ghost town. On top of that, you've got shuttered shops everywhere. You've got to let signs everywhere, takeaway wrappers from the Friday night blown in the wind. It just seems that what was once the beating heart of every town, along with the village pub, now represents basically a ghost of former Britain. I found that a scary statistic. This was from the Centre for Retail Research this year. Since 2016, over 50,000 retail stores have permanently closed in the UK. Basically, this year, 1 in 3 high street units in smaller towns in the UK stand empty. Now, there are exceptions to this. I did a video in a place called Totnes recently, and that has no empty shops. So Totnes is an exception to the rule. That one I'll probably post quite soon. But it just seems that for the most part, what's happened to the places that we used to meet, that we used to shop in, that we used to love and live for. I know people are going to be shouting when it's online, it's because of Amazon. I mean, yeah, undeniably, online has had an impact on the high street, undeniably. Amazon, eBay, Deliveroo, stores having their own e-commerce websites, of course. And online retail in that respect hasn't just disrupted the high street, it's detonated it. But equally, if you've got TK Maxx, for example, in your local town or in your city or whatever, well, TK Maxx has an online store. If you've got Sports Direct has an online store. So it's not like they've engineered their own demise by having an online outlet. That's only part of it. The bigger part of it, and the reason that e-commerce, I think, makes up now over 35% of all UK retail sales, is that you've got local councils that are making it difficult for shoppers to make the decision to shop locally. In my local area, if I want to park my car for 30 minutes, and bearing in mind this is a multi-story car park, so it takes you about 5 minutes to get to the bottom in the lift. But if I want to park my car for 30 minutes, it's £1.50. If I want to park my car for an hour, it's £2.50. If I want to park my car all day, it's £8. £8 to park your car all day. Now, again, there are going to be people that live in London that are screaming, we pay £8 an hour to park our cars in London. I know you do. Of course you do. And it's horrific and it's horrendous and it shouldn't be that way. But I think London's different because London's almost its own microcosm, whereas towns and villages and small hamlets and places like that, the councils should kind of be fostering people to want to come in. They should be making it easy and accessible and desirable for people to want to park a vehicle in their borough, to then use the shops, which then means that those shops will stay open, which means the council then generates revenue in business rates and taxes and all the other gubbins from those shops. It seems backwards for councils to penny pinch over parking tickets and things like that and parking fees, and just put double yellow lines everywhere and make it difficult when there is obviously another option, and that's just click, 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 ping, pay now, done. And I think that councils are as equally responsible, if not more so, for the decline of the high street as online shopping. And small shops can't survive soaring rents and energy bills that are 4 times what they are for comparable areas of Europe. Footfall actually dropped 15% between 2019 and 2024. That was according to a Springboard data. Now, obviously, part of that was because of the pandemic. Nobody was going out shopping between 2019 and 2021. So a good kind of year and a half of that was written off anyway. But either way, that's a pretty bad statistic and a hideous drop in footfall. Local councils will talk about regeneration, but the reality looks more like managed decline. You've got empty shops. They're turning into betting shops. They're turning into vape stores. They're turning it into barbers. They're turning into the American candy stores. And we all know what's going on with those. We're not stupid. Um, in fact, pop it in the comments if you think you know what's going on with those shops. Nobody likes that much American candy. And in one street where I live, I've got five hairdressers from a certain country, and they're always empty. Nobody needs that many beard trims. Come on, get real. A dying high street basically means more and more lost shops, but it means more than that. It means a lost identity. You've got communities that fragment. You've got young people that just bugger off and go elsewhere. The high street in Britain used to be a kind of meeting point. Now it's almost just like a memory. So, what can we do about this? Well, I guess not all hope is lost. You've got local cooperatives, you've got independent markets and farmers markets, and I actually use these myself now. I still do go to Lidl and Morrison's and the cheaper supermarkets to get staples like tins of beans and plum tomatoes and whatever else. But for things like dairy, vegetables, all the good, healthy, fresh, nice stuff that's not sprayed with shit, I buy that from independent markets and farmers markets. And you've got community-owned projects that are now bringing some life back to some areas. But unless local economies are supported instead of being squeezed, the empty town centre is eventually going to become the new normal for many towns, villages, and hamlets in Great Britain. Our high streets basically tell the story of Britain itself in the same way that the village pub used to. What we value and also what we've lost. And right now, the high street, as you drive down it and you see boarded up this to let that, whitewashed windows, it's a warning. It's screaming at you that when community dies, the country follows. So, what are your thoughts on this? Have you noticed this in your local high street? Like me, are you now put off going to the local high street because of ridiculous parking charges, because of double yellow lines everywhere, meaning that you've got to park miles outside and then travel in, spending more on parking? They seem to have made it very difficult to use the high street, and it's the high street that props up the community. So it seems like the councils are being a bit backwards, but I welcome your thoughts and opinions on this. This is just one man's opinion. Drop it in the comments, let me know. YouTube is going to put another video there. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Another video tomorrow. Goldman, peace out.